Okay, so I'm working on finials to screw into the ends of curtain poles, and here's the progression. Starts out as 20mm round bar. That's hot, so I'm not going to touch it. Just plain round bar. First thing is done is a fairly standard just taper is put on the end of the bar. Ignore that nodule bit for a second. So just fairly sort of plain taper is put on the end of the bar. Then bring the bar hot over to the power hammer, and using this tool in here that I made, which has an impression in the bottom, a mirrored impression, so that impression there is also in the top die, and bar goes in hot with the taper sticking out through the other side. Bash, 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 hunky dory, brings out into this shape. From there, over at the anvil, by manual hammering, spread that mass out into this sort of club shape and cut it off down at the bottom there. At that point, this will be 12mm round, so that area there is 12mm round, and the reason being is that I originally designed these to go on the tops of 12mm railings for folks who wanted traditional style railings, but I want these tails to be 10mm round, so then I'll use my sort of tenon die clapper tool. I don't know what the proper names for any of these things are, I just know how to use them. So in this progression there's 16mm, 12mm, 10mm, 8mm, so I'll neaten up the end splodge there and then work it down in the 10mm one, and that'll bring it out evenly as a 10mm tail. I only need about a centimetre of tail, and then I'll thread it, and an M10 nut is 17mm wide. The internal diameter of the curtain pole is 16mm, so I'll grind the nut down so it fits snugly in, weld the nut in, and then turn the finial into the nut so it finishes off the pole. bit of a bugger that my phone battery, no sorry not my battery, my internal card memory died, so didn't catch the end bit of that video, but basically here's the results. Some have already been done, so these are worked down to 10 mil, 10 mil in the tails, and here's one that I've threaded. So the poles exterior diameter are 20 mil. The wall thickness of the tube is 2 mil, so 2 and 2 makes 4, so 16 mil internal diameter. As mentioned previously, the M10 nuts are 17 mil, so what I'm doing is grinding them round so they'll go inside. The last little sort of trick of it all is, I'm not going to push this in and do it all now, but because these have a sort of a rounded bit here, I've always been slightly conscious that I don't want to see a horrible like a horrible seam line, you know, something like that. I want them to be up flush. So what I'm going to be doing is, what I had thought I might have to do is file these back here to make them dead flat. But I thought of a slightly better solution, and that's to, I don't know if you'll be able to see into this, but drill sort of countersink the ends of these, so when they're pushed into the end of the pole, it will sit. Sorry, I can't seem to look at what's happening in real life plus what's happening on the screen. So it will sit tight up against there, so when these go in, it will go in with as little seam line as possible, because although these started out as 20 mil, with the sort of surface that's lost through fire scale and brushing and all the rest of it, they've actually end up about 19 and a half mil. So I just want it to be as an invisible transition as possible and not have some sort of, you know, obvious hairline that's visible from the other side of the room.